You're listening to The Traditional Millennial with Brittany Dotson, where conventional meets contemporary and faith fills the gaps. What's up, everybody? We are back on The Traditional Millennial. I am your host, Brittany Dotson, and today we are going to have one of those conversations that might make some of us shift a little bit in our seats. It's not meant to offend, but it is meant to make us think. So we're just going to jump right in. So I posted this on my story, my Instagram story, a little bit ago, and I decided to make it into a full podcast episode. So one morning I was up scrolling through some social media pages before I went to work, just doing what we all do, checking out what other folks in my field are posting, looking at what business pages look like in spaces that I might need to utilize one day, seeing what's working, seeing what's not, just kind of getting a scope of the landscape. And as I was looking, a small thought hit me, but the more I sat with it, the heavier it got. We need to talk about how we as Black entrepreneurs and professionals are showing up, because whether we like it or not, presentation is a game changer. And sometimes it's the difference between being taken seriously or being overlooked. So here's what happened. I'm scrolling. I'm looking at businesses that offer certain services. And some of the content that I saw was sharp. It was clean. It was well put together. Every photo, every caption, every post, every reel, it felt intentional. And then I'd see other pages with great talent behind them, great ideas, but the execution, it was a little sloppy. It was a little like I threw this together and I hope for the best. That was the type of vibe that it was giving. And this isn't a conversation about talent, because let's be real. And I said this in my story, Black folks, we are gifted. We are creative. We can take something from nothing and we can make it shine. We are thoughtful. We are compassionate. We're problem solvers. That's just in our DNA. But when it comes to discipline in presentation, especially in spaces that we consider personal and none of anybody else's business, we don't always move the same way. And I couldn't help but notice that sometimes, just sometimes, not all the time, that's part of the reason white entrepreneurs are taken more seriously than we are. Because it's not about talent. Again, it's about how we show up. So let me say this. The presentation is not just about having the prettiest website or the fanciest clothes. Y'all, it's about access. It's about opportunity. It's about control over outcomes. I said this in my story as well. And here's what I mean by that. White entrepreneurs, generally speaking, are taught early on to think about money, about legacy, and about longevity differently than we are. It's drilled into them that how you show up can open doors or even close them. They are mindful about every room they step into, whether it's professional or personal, because they know someone is always watching them and they know that there is always money to be made. And here's the thing. They're willing to stake even their personal interactions, their everyday behavior, how they are, what they post, on making sure they're perceived in the right way or a certain way. And why is that? Because perception impacts opportunity. Now, us on the other hand, and I said this again in my story, I'm just reiterating all this stuff. We often operate from a place of, I don't have anything to prove. Who are they to tell me how to run my page or run my business? Or as long as I get Black dollars, then I'm good. We don't think bigger. And listen, I get it. I understand, because our history in this country, y'all, we have had to fight just to exist. Black people have. We've had to assert that our worth is not determined by someone else's approval. And in a lot of ways, that is true. But when it comes to building something lasting, when it comes to being taken seriously in spaces that weren't built with us in mind in the first place, you do have something to prove. And not because you lack value, but because we are breaking generational barriers, and how you show up can set the tone for who gets to come behind you. We really got to think about that. And I want us to think about this for just a second. Just like employers scout out employees before making a hire, clients also scout out potential vendors before spending their money, before they ever DM you, before they ever click book now on that post that you running an ad with, before they ever email you. They are scrolling through your socials. They are reading your captions. They're looking at your Facebook page. They're looking at your Instagram page, and they're seeing what you're standing for and what you're talking about. And yes, what you look like when you do it. So let me ask you this. Again, these were questions that I asked in my story. The post that you post, it might be funny, but is it fruitful? That comment, it might spark a lot of engagement, but is it good for business? Yeah, you might be able to monetize on Facebook for a couple of dollars here and there. But again, we're thinking longevity. We're thinking legacy. We're thinking growth. We're thinking scaling. That outfit that you got on, it might turn heads. It might look good for the gram, and it might be good for clicks and likes. But does it align with what you say you're building? Is it good for business? Now, am I saying you have to perform? Am I saying you have to be fake? Absolutely not. But intentionality, it matters. Because like it or not, how we show up sends a message about what we value, what we are building, and whether or not people can trust us with their time, with their money, and with opportunities. So just a quick story. I know someone who once lost out on a major partnership, and not because their service was not good, but because a decision maker for another company happened to see a public post that did not align with their brand values. So one click, one scroll, one impression, that was all it took. The opportunity was gone. And the part that hurt, though, is that it was avoidable. It was preventable. It didn't have to happen that way. So, as Black entrepreneurs, as Black professionals, where do we go from here? So, first things first, we have got to understand that presentation is a tool. It's leverage. It's not about being fake, but it's about being consistent with what you say you are building. So just a couple of things that I've learned and that I'm still learning and that I am being more conscientious about as it deals with business and professionalism. First things first, we really do need to audit our personal spaces. If your name is attached to it, if clients can see it or potential clients can see it, then ask yourself, does this align with my goals? Does it reflect the future that I say that I want? Another thing you can do, mind your digital footprint. See, everything you post tells a story. Decide whether or not it's the story that you want people to read before they ever even meet you. Something else that I'm learning. Show up for where you are going, not for where you are. Like your future audience, your future investors, your future collaborators, they are watching you right now. So move accordingly. Move in a way that you are even thinking about your future yourself, not just what's happening for you right now, and not just the clients that you have right now, but the clients that you want later on. And lastly, y'all, please do not confuse authenticity with carelessness. You can be 100% yourself and still be intentional. You can be relatable and still be respected. Those two things do not have to cancel each other out. They do not have to void one another. Just because you are conscious about the audience that you are trying to reach does not mean that you are any less of who you are. It doesn't make you less you. It actually makes you a wiser you, which is something that we really need to take into consideration when we're doing business with other people. So here's the truth. Black people, we are too gifted. We're too called. We're too skilled. We're too in demand to let presentation be the thing that holds us back. We've got everything it takes to be in these rooms, to own these businesses, to build these legacies. But sometimes how we show up is the only thing standing between us and the opportunities that we've been praying for. So today, I just want to challenge you, and I want to challenge myself too, to be more intentional, to think twice before we post, before we speak, before we step into a room, because we're not just representing ourselves. We are setting a standard. We're opening doors, and we are showing the world what's possible for those that come behind us. Because again, whether we like it or not, how we show up, it matters. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in to today's episode of The Traditional Millennial. If this made you think, if it challenged you, or if you know somebody who needs to hear it, share this episode with them. Let's keep growing together. Let's keep leveling up, and let's keep building something that lasts. Until next time, stay tuned and keep rocking with The Traditional Millennial, where conventional meets contemporary and faith fills the gaps.